Is this the beginning of a new world order? Is this going to impact the stock market? What is the future of interest rates? These are the questions that we're going to answer today, my friends. So first of all, let us start with what is going on the ground. So we've got a bunch of tariffs coming in from Trump. We have him basically, he's trying to save some money here. Okay? He's trying to save some money, and obviously there's going to be some people that are going to hurt. Some of the things that we're seeing are a little bit ridiculous. The money that was spent, they're trying to spend to save some money. You know, the US owes $37 trillion. Okay. Second, we're not going to save 37 trillion, but I think he's probably want to save some money in order to push through the what's going on with the taxes. You know, this year we're going to get a bunch of tax reductions. So that's one thing that's happening with the tariffs. The second thing is trying to restore peace in the world by basically telling everyone this is how it's going to be. Telling the people in Gaza, you know what, you're going to be much happier somewhere else. Telling Zelensky, this is it, we're not fighting anymore. Russia keeps what they have and you stay where you are. Also looking to essentially with the tariffs trying to play a more level playing fields. Easy making deals, easy making policy. You also have on the other side, Europe is not saying idle. They're saying, oh, really? That's how it's going to be? Then I'm also going to fight you with the tariffs. They're saying, hold on a second. What do you mean you're going to deal with Zelensky and Russia and Europe is sidestepped? No, the UK just announced that they are willing to put some troops on the ground in Ukraine. So you got that. So you got, these people coming, on the other side trying to, well, hold on, but we're here too. We have something to do. The people seems to like that kind of talk. So we're gonna talk the same way. We want to be part of it. We're gonna fight with you essentially, and we love each other. But and then of course the European also saying, oh well, I guess the US doesn't like us anymore. I guess France is spending 2%. France is spending 2% of their GDP, where we're spending 3% of our GDP on defense. Okay, so everybody's gonna come to the table. Even Condoleezza Rice, she also said that, you know what, everybody's got to come up to speed and up with the U.S. We can't. It's not so much being the cop of the world, being the banker and the sustaining everyone and spending so much money. That cannot happen. Okay, so but that has implication because now, besides the thing with the tariff and saving some money, I think from a higher level, there seemed to be something happening with the world order, right? The world order essentially would appear that people are getting pissed, people are getting upset, people want to do it on their own. No, obviously, Zelensky and Ukraine, yeah, that's nice. You're fighting democracy, blah, blah, blah. But with somebody else's money, we spend 200, they spend 100 billion. It can't go on, right? So we have to be careful here because Europe is the US's client as well. Right? We sell a lot into Europe. Not so much in China anymore, Mexico a lot, Canada, but Europe, if you lose that customer, what are you gonna do? So we all have to kind of play in a courtyard together, play nice. What's going to be the impact in the stock market? Well, it all depends because right now, inflation are tracking exactly what happened from the 70s to 76. We're in 76. 2024 is 76. Basically inflation did this, did that in 76, and then after 76 it went back up. Exactly. And then we had Volcker and recession and all that horrible things that happened after. where inflation went up, went down, and went back up again. So we are in that realm. Unfortunately, last year we only had to dealt with whether or not the Fed was going to raise or not raise, and they say, well, we're not going to start lowering. I think things should be in good order. But now they realize, you know what, not so good anymore. In fact, we're going to have 2 cuts instead of 4. Now, nothing happened. And even worse, because of the tariffs, to be clear, if you look at my previous video, the tariffs are definitely going to increase inflation in the short run. It will also at some point increase, GDP and economic activities. But there's going to be some inflation. So I doubt very much that the Fed is going to lower rates any further, especially even, I think it was last week where Chairman Powell basically said that, you know what, I don't know what the impact is going to be. I mean, he wants to be politically correct, I guess. He doesn't want to say, well, it's going to increase inflation. It's not, it depends. He's basically saying, well, let's see what happens, what goes on. And you know what Trump is doing also? He's saying, we're going to do tariffs, but we're not going to do tariffs right away. We're going to do them, but now we're postponing it. We're talking, or like he was saying with Gaza, if everyone is not free, there's going to be hell to pay. Oh, Trump says it's going to be hell to pay, so he's going to be starting the war. And 3 hostages got released. They look pretty much okay. And he said, well, I mean, they didn't want to do it anyway, so good. So I said, so where's the hell to pay? What are you saying? Are you doing it or not doing it? You don't know. You don't know until you know, okay? So it's very difficult to predict anything with the stock market. It is difficult as it is to understand what's going to happen to the stock market. But now I could tell you, with no clear direction in terms of rates and in terms of inflation, with the risk of inflation hiking up again, because frankly, it's on track. I mean, if you've seen the latest numbers, inflation is on its way up. But keep in mind that the real inflation is probably a lot higher. If we were to use the numbers that we used in the 80s, the 90s, where we calculated inflation is a lot higher than 3%. It's closer to 8 or 9% technically. And we see it every day, okay? When you look at the price of eggs, you've got to be kidding me. So we're in the midst of a new world order, okay? That could be a good thing and it could be a catastrophe. It could be a catastrophe because you could have rates going up because of inflation, rates going up because Trump wants the Fed to lower rates, and if the Fed wants to play ball with Trump and they actually do lower rates, that's going to push inflation even higher, because don't forget, the economy is doing pretty well on its own, thank you very much, okay? So keep that in mind. So inflation up, and Europe, and we may not do any more business with Canada because of what's going on with the tariffs, and we are maybe weakening Europe. Europe has been used to, I think they are actually taxing us more than we're taxing them in terms of tariffs. Do you see many Ford and American cars in Europe? Exactly. You see a lot more Mercedes and BMW over here. So what we may end up happening is you have inflation creeping up, and then at the same time you have the economy slowing down overseas. All these businessmen, all these business owners are saying, what am I going to do here with not knowing exactly what the tariffs are going to be? Am I going to hold off on any more spending? That's what's happening in Europe already. And keep in mind, in Germany, the far right is doing pretty well. In Europe, the far right is doing pretty well as well, because they're looking at Trump and they're saying, hey, it's good to see America, let's make America great again. Let's make France again. Let's make Germany, great again. Imagine that. So there's a few things happening. There's Trump doing his thing. Now they're doing their thing, which means that we have a new world order. In the middle of all this, you got the markets and the economy is trying to say, okay, what's going to happen? And the market, my friends, the market tries to predict is always in process of pricing the market, right? We're pricing stocks on the basis of a story. Last year was the Trump trade. the hope. Look what happened to Tesla stocks, and look what the Tesla stock is doing now, and it's the other way around. But last year that was a story, and then rates were going to lower. We're going to lower rates, and the economy is doing great, and Trump is going to be cutting a few dollars here and there. He's going to make business great, healthy again, right? And now it's like, well, hold on, we actually really don't know what he's going to do, but now we realize that whatever he's going to do is going to impact whatever else is going to do, and what is the economy going to do, and what's going to be the implication. And people did not realize that he was serious, and there are clear implications of these things that it depends if he's playing three-dimensional chess or he's playing checkers. If he's making deal, that's okay. But those deals will have implication in the future. Look at the UK. UK says, you know what? We are going to put troops on the ground in Ukraine so that Russia doesn't do any more things. So now you got NATO, right? Because UK is NATO, at Russia's doorstep. Do we want Russia in Mexico? Look what we're doing to Cuba, okay? Why are you pushing? Okay, well, because we have to do something. But you weren't doing anything before Trump started talking, and now you want to do something. Don't overshoot it, okay? Just because you feel like you have to do something, then you're gonna have to spend the money, you're gonna put the boots on the ground, then go ahead. You break it, you own it. So, because on his own, Zelensky is not going to be able to fight this war. Now, of course, you're going to say, well, but we don't want World War III, but no one wants World War III. Putin wants what? He wants to invade Germany and France? They have the atomic bombs. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. But if you put NATO troops in Ukraine, do you think that that's going to slow everything down? Or is going to put fire, right? It's going to... And that's the thing if you're making deals, making policies. Because if you make policies, you already thought about what they're going to do next. And you're preempting it. But obviously, the other thing also, what you have going is, within the Trump camp, as you could see, you'll have JD, pretty close to Rubio, right? The Secretary of State. And he's there, and this is where we're acting very presidential. Obviously, he's eyeing, the next election, which Trump will be part of. What is Rubio doing in this thing, right? He's more quiet. He's quieter. Remember, Marco Rubio? Is there going to be a tug of war here? Although Rubio tends to be more, let him do his thing. Let's see what happens. If it doesn't work, I could pick it up. Who knows what he's really thinking? But they're pretty faithful to Trump right now. But these guys also want to, set them up. And look at the fiery speech that the vice president did in Europe, saying, you're on your own, people. Usually that's up to the Treasury Secretary, the foreign minister, basically, to talk. But it's the first time that the vice president is so vocal and so... But JD is, no slouch either. So he's... so you got all these pieces on the world stage, and how is that going to impact everything? How is that going to impact the market? We'll see. But it's going to be very interesting because the new world order is here.